So headed down the mill road, we're gonna come into the wood yard here. I got everything pretty much leveled out and all the sticks and most of the rocks is picked up. Got a little bit better review up here. As I've said in other videos, this area is around a quarter acre, give or take. So somewhere around 11,000 square feet, not including the driveway coming down here. But I have tons and tons of videos on this project, everything from cutting trees, popping stumps with a backhoe, having a huge brush fire, you know, etc., etc. So if you want to see any of those videos, check out the Mill Yard playlist, and you can check them out in your spare time. Maybe at nighttime, if you're sitting down, relaxing, nothing else to do, it's too dark to work, you can check out those videos. But yeah, it's coming along nice. Like I said, I got everything pretty much smoothed out, York raked. I got most of the rocks picked up. I ended up with all the stumps down in that corner. So the biggest project I got left is gonna be putting the mill in, which is gonna entail a lot of different videos, everything from the initial setup to the first usage, pouring the pad, you know, how a review, all that kind of stuff. I'm not gonna say which mill I got, but I did order about 2 weeks ago. And at 2 weeks at the time of this video, I should say, I'm not sure when this will get released, but the mill should be in 6 to 12 weeks when I ordered it. So that will give me time to plan out where I want to put the mill, pour the pad, get everything nice and set up, and etc. The nice thing about down here is it's probably a good 2 to 3 times the size of my other firewood yard, which was in a different area of my property, maybe 700-800 feet away. And in addition, I think it's going to get a lot sunny. You can see it's a little shady now because of the time of day, but maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours ago, this was pretty much all sun, and you can see it's still pretty sunny in some spots. The other wood yard I have, another section of the property I just mentioned, does not get nearly this sunny because there's too many overhead trees and canopies blocking the sunlight from coming in. So let's get some of the stuff moved. So here we can get a better view of the old wood yard. It's maybe like 60 by 80 or 60 by 90, something like that. It's not a bad size, but it's just not as usable as a new wood yard is going to be. I'm pretty happy with how things are turning out. I think all of my cages down here. I got 20 of those IBC cages. Those are 330 gallon containers. You know, obviously the tops are just the IBC bladders that come inside the cage, cut in half diagonally to make a little roof. So my thought process here is, if you notice, there's a good space, probably 4 feet or so in between the cages. And the reason for that is, A, it's much easier to get them in and out with forks, and reason B, it's going to allow more wind and sun in there to season that wood nice and dry, because as I've said in other videos in the past, you want your firewood at or below 20% moisture content. That's the magic number you want to hit. You want to be under that. Some types of wood can take a year to get to that level. Some can take 3 years, depends on the wood, but it's going to speed up the process if you get good sun and good wind to help season the wood. So I think what I'm going to focus on at this point is trying to figure out where I'm going to put the mill. As I said, I did order it. It should be here in anywhere from 4 to, it was originally 6 to 12 weeks, and it's been 2 weeks. So anywhere from 4 to 10 weeks from now, I should have the mill, so I have time to figure out where it's going, pour the pad, to get it all set up. I think what I'm going to end up doing eventually is building a big lean-to down here. That's going to help me keep all my firewood nice and dry. That's going to be firewood that I sell. I'm also going to put my bundles in there for camp firewood and different things. Maybe even some of my milled lumber. I'll be keeping my other lean-to up near the house that you've seen in other videos. That holds 8 full cords. So that one will be for my personal wood, 1 year's worth. And then the big lean-to I build down here eventually with my milled lumber will be for wood that I'm going to sell or excess. So I ended up building this area up quite a bit. There's that retaining wall that I built with a coyote. It's about 2 feet high. And I actually ended up scoring some really good fill for my cousins who own a construction company. This was $10 a yard delivered. So they ended up bringing 5 10-wheel dump trucks, which each holds about 16 yards. So somewhere around 80 yards of fill. And even before that, I think I brought in I want to say I had like 3 triaxle loads, which were about 20 yards a piece. So 60 and 80. It's probably 140 to 150 cubic yards of material that I've brought into this area over the last couple of years. But things are really turning out nice. There used to be a little stone wall here. You can see it continues there. That continued over. There was a couple trees there that I had to get out. So my plan, I'm not sure if I'm going to use this for parking a trailer or if I'm going to end up adding a lean-to to the garage, but it's nice and flat now and it's usable. And I think the rest of it came out pretty decent. Tell me if you agree, but I think a 3-point hitch York rake has to be one of the handiest tractor attachments ever made. I think it's probably the handiest 3-point attachment. I think you could argue if you start including front attachments like forks and things and buckets. But as far as 3-point implements go, I think the York rake or a landscape rake has to be one of the top contenders. But now you can see it's really flat. I got a nice, slow, steady pitch going into the garage. Yeah, I think this is going to work out really nice. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Like I said, it did take quite a bit of yards of material, but I think it was well worth doing. Now when big trucks pull into the mill, it's nice and flat, and I don't have to worry about being on a tilt. It'll be a nice, easy entrance into the mill area. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video on moving my wood yard in my processing center down here. There's gonna be a lot more videos to come. See you next time.